Welcome again here to the Accident Investigator. This will be the 17th of 100 reflections that I'm going to do, or that I'm busy doing, on accidents. And today we're going to have a look at the BO105. Now, for those that are not 100% au fait with what the helicopter looks like, I think, because I put the Red Bull one in, it'll be easier to recognize. But it was a equipped helicopter for aerial rescue, and for very obvious reasons. I didn't want to use the real call sign. There was quite a serious car accident on the road here and near Haarlem, and the helicopter flew in from George to this area where it actually spent quite a considerable time on the ground, and it was waiting for the patient to be stabilized. After that, the helicopter took off, and it appears that the intention for the pilot was that he will fly via the coast back to George. If we look at a little bit closer here, this is what the route should have looked like. Now, I know I must carefully sort of consider this now, but from the time that he took off to the distance to where the helicopter actually crashed is like 4.5, 5 nautical miles. So let's say at 60 nautical miles per hour, which it would have been probably faster than that, it would only have taken 5 minutes. But according to the reports from the CIA, from the time that the aircraft took off until the time when the accident happened, there's about 40 minutes. So I think that there's at least 35 minutes missing somewhere along the line, and we don't really know what happened in that time. And we also don't know if there was let's say, a mistake in writing down the times from the report side. Nonetheless, the helicopter would have flown over there, and just once it was low level, and there was reported to have been some cloud, or scattered cloud, in the environment. Now that's quite important, and remember, he was, company policy wasn't to fly at night, but now due to the delay, the helicopter took off, and it was quite late already. They're talking about 17:15 Zulu, so that's about 18, let's say 20. It's about 8 o'clock at night, in other words, or close to 8 o'clock at night that it took off, and then it was flying. So now we must just quickly consider the pilot. Yes, he had enough hours. He had over 1,700 hours, quite a lot of hours, but about 4 hours plus on the aircraft type. I'm really not too sure how dexterous the pilot would have been inside the cockpit, especially if you're looking at night flying. And I am not sure if this pilot has had any night flying experience in this helicopter, because the policy was not to fly at night. I doubt if the pilot would have had any night flying. But as operations has it, in this case, the operation dictated that the pilot stood by and that he took off quite a bit later. And now it's the chicken and the egg story. Do I take off and let the pilot die? Or at least the patient die? Or do I take off and try and take the person home? And the helicopter pilots are made like that. They want to finish the job. And unfortunately, this unction to be able to get the job done is sometimes in the way. Nonetheless, when I just have a look here, if I look at the direction that the helicopter impacted on the mountain on this side, I would suggest that it was coming up here and that it was doing a turn there. I can't say whether that was an evasive maneuver or not, but what I can say is that if you look at the next picture and you see how devastating the impact was, that means it was fairly high speed. And therefore, I don't think they were busy climbing, and I think this is what it was saying here. So if I had to deduce that, I would say there was too many, or there were probably cloud on top, and they couldn't climb through the cloud. And as we were coming up to a mountain, he saw the mountain and diverted, but in a level turn, speed quite high, and it was impact on the mountain. There was no way that you could recover from this one. As you can see, this is the cockpit and a little bit of the panel staying over there. Really nothing left. Everything burned out. And well, now during the wrap-up, let's just consider one or two things. The first thing is, if you haven't got the equipment to fly in the dark of night, such as NVGs or whatever the case might be, then there's a little bit of logic. If I can see the lights I'm flying towards, or I should see the lights that I'm flying towards, and he was flying towards the lights, why can't I see them? So either I'm below the horizon, in other words, behind a mountain or something, or I'm high enough, but it's obscured by something else that maybe could be cloud. All right, so now we're trundling down here a dark hole, flying blind, and really, what are we going to do with the flying blind? Well, the only outcome of flying blind is, well, it's not good. All right. The second thing is that the pilot, he had 1,700 or some odd hours, and let's say he was accomplished as a helicopter pilot. He was not lots of experience, but he was there. But on type, he had very few hours, 4.5 or something hours. Now, just listen to this. The policy of the company is that you don't do CASEVACs, what they were busy doing here with the patients at night, so they wouldn't have done night flying during the conversion of this aircraft. So I doubt if this pilot ever had any night flying experience on this aircraft, and therefore, all of a sudden to find yourself in a situation, the operational situation, because they took longer to stabilize the patient, it got dark and you've got to take off, and you feel that you need to accomplish your task. I understand that, but you know, we should know when the odds are stacked against us. Now, what should we do? That is the question. Well, it's not an easy answer. You're weighing up one seriously injured patient who is critical versus the rest of the crew and the helicopter. And this sounds very bad, but this is a no-brainer. Remember, we always really want to use the helicopter again, and we always want to use the crew again. And I'm not saying that the person is expendable, but unfortunately, of the weighing scales, the pilot must make the decision. And in this case, I believe he should have turned around, shut down the aircraft where he could in a safe manner, and got hold of, you know, all the doctors, and they could have tried to keep the patient alive on ground. Right, that's then all for today, and just the last input here. Okay, in flying, you cannot fake until you make it.